Commander Zila of the Astrari fleet stood on the bridge of her massive warship. She watched the blue planet on the main screen with interest. Her long silver hair flowed down her back, contrasting with her purple skin. The planet called Earth looked small and weak compared to her homeworld. Zila had traveled across the galaxy with one mission: to find new species to challenge. The Astrari were warriors who valued strength above all else. They did not conquer worlds. They tested them. If a species proved worthy, they would be offered alliance. If not, they would be left alone, considered too weak for Astrari attention. Earth had caught Astrari attention when human radio signals reached their monitoring stations. The signals showed a species that was young but developing quickly. The Astrari Council decided it was time to test these humans. First Officer Krell approached Zila, his gray skin wrinkled with concern. "Commander, our scans show the humans have primitive weapons. They cannot harm our ships. Their technology is thousands of years behind ours." Zila nodded. This was expected. All reports suggested the humans would be easy to defeat. Yet something about this planet made her uneasy. Something in their transmissions suggested these humans might be different from other species they had tested. "Prepare a landing party," she ordered. "We will follow protocol and challenge their strongest warriors." The Astrari ship positioned itself above a large landmass the humans called North America. Zila chose a remote area for first contact, a place with few human settlements. She did not want to cause panic among the population. When the landing craft touched down, Zila stepped out with 4 of her best warriors. The air was cooler than her home world, but breathable. The gravity was slightly stronger, making her feel heavier. They had landed in a forest clearing, surrounded by tall green trees. "We will wait here," she told her warriors. "The humans will have detected our ship. Send the contact signal." One of her warriors activated a device that would broadcast their location and peaceful intentions to nearby human communication systems. Now they would wait to see how the humans responded. Would they send soldiers, scientists? Or would they panic and hide? 2 hours passed before they heard the sound of an approaching vehicle. A small aircraft appeared overhead, circling the clearing before landing on the opposite side. From it emerged 5 humans, 4 males and 1 female. They wore matching dark uniforms with insignia. Zila recognized this as military attire. The human female stepped forward. She was small by Astrari standards, with pale skin and short brown hair. Despite her size, she carried herself with authority. Zila recognized a fellow commander when she saw one. "I am Commander Susan Martinez of the United Earth Defense Force," the human said loudly and clearly. "We received your transmission and understand you wish to make peaceful contact." Zila stepped forward. "I am Commander Zila of the Astrari fleet. We have come to test the strength of your species." Susan looked confused. "Test our strength?" "Yes," Zila explained. "The Astrari seek worthy allies throughout the galaxy. We challenge potential allies to determine their value. We have studied your transmissions and believe humans may have potential despite your technological limitations." Susan frowned. "That sounds like you want to fight us." Zila made the Astrari gesture of confirmation. "Combat is the purest test, but we do not wish to harm your planet or people. We propose a series of challenges between our champions. If your species proves worthy, we will share technology and knowledge with you. If not, we will leave you to develop on your own." The human commander seemed to consider this. "We generally prefer diplomatic solutions rather than combat." Zila was not surprised. Many species initially resisted the Astrari way, but this was non-negotiable. "We respect your preference, but this is our way. If you refuse the challenge, we will depart and your species will be marked as unworthy." Susan spoke quietly with her companions for several minutes. Then she turned back to Zila. "What kind of challenges do you propose?" 3 tests, Zila said. "First, a test of physical strength. Second, a test of strategy. Third, a test of will, our champions against yours. And if we win all 3, then we will consider humans worthy allies and share our knowledge with you. We will help you advance your civilization by centuries. And if we lose, then we leave you continue on your own path." Susan nodded slowly. I need to consult with our world leaders. This is not a decision I can make alone. We request 24 hours to consider your proposal. Xela agreed. This was standard procedure. Most species needed time to understand the importance of the Astrari challenge. You have your time. We will remain here and await your answer. After the humans departed, Krell approached Xela. Commander, these humans seem physically weak. Why do you think the Council believes they have potential? Xela watched the human aircraft disappear into the distance. There is something in their communications. Their history suggests they are unusually adaptable and resourceful for such a young species. The Council believes they may surprise us. Krell looked skeptical. They barely have space travel. Their weapons are primitive. Their bodies are fragile. Xela smiled. Remember the Thelosians. They looked weak too. But they proved to be among our most valuable allies. Appearances can be deceiving. The next day the human aircraft returned. This time it carried different humans. Along with Susan Martinez came an older human female with dark skin and white hair. She introduced herself as Dr. Maya Washington, the representative, chosen by Earth leaders. We accept your challenge, Dr. Washington said. Her voice was calm and steady. We have selected our champions for your tests. Xela felt pleased. The humans had courage at least. That was a good start. When shall we begin? Tomorrow. At dawn, Dr. Washington replied. We have prepared a suitable location for the challenges, a nearby military facility with adequate space and privacy. Very well. Xela agreed. We will follow your aircraft tomorrow. Our champions will be ready as the humans departed again. Xela turned to her warriors. The testing would soon begin. She wondered what surprises these humans might have in store. The Astrari had tested hundreds of species throughout the galaxy. Most had failed to impress, but occasionally they found species with unexpected qualities, species that became valuable allies. Something told Xela these humans might be one of those rare finds. Dawn broke over the mountains as the Astrari landing craft followed the human aircraft. To the testing ground, Xela studied the landscape below. A large flat area had been cleared, surrounded by metal fences and observation structures. The humans had prepared well. When they landed, Xela saw a crowd of humans gathered in the observation areas. They wore different uniforms, suggesting various military and government representatives were present. This was good. The humans were taking the challenge seriously. Commander Xela stepped out with her 4 warriors behind her. Walked Grax, the Astrari champion. He stood nearly 8 feet tall with muscles that rippled beneath his thick purple skin. His strength was legendary even among the Astrari. He had never lost a physical challenge. Dr. Washington greeted them along with Commander Martinez and several other humans. This is the testing ground, she explained. We have prepared it according to your specifications. Excellent, Xela said. Now we should begin with the first challenge, the test of strength. Dr. Washington nodded and gestured to a human female who stepped forward. This is Major Olivia Taylor, our champion for the strength challenge. Xela studied the human with surprise. Major Taylor was tall for a human but still much smaller than Grax. She had dark skin and short black hair. Her muscles were defined but nothing compared to the Astrari champion. She looked calm and confident, which was interesting. Given the obvious mismatch, Grax laughed when he saw his opponent. This is your champion. A small female. He spoke in the Astrari language, but his tone made his meaning clear. Xela frowned at him. Do not underestimate any opponent, she warned. Then she turned to Dr. Washington. Please, explain the rules of your strength challenge. The challenge is simple. Major Taylor explained. We will test pure physical strength through a series of lifts, pulls, and endurance tests. The competitor with the best overall performance wins. Grax flexed his massive arms. He seemed completely confident of victory. Xela was not so sure. There was something about the human champion that made her cautious. The first test involved lifting heavy metal objects of increasing weight. Grax performed impressively, lifting objects that would crush most beings. The human Taylor matched him, lift for lift. Though the objects clearly strained her muscles, she completed each task. How is this possible? Krell whispered to Xela. The human should not be able to match. Graxila watched carefully. I suspect there is more to these humans than we realized. The second test was a pulling contest. Each champion had to pull a heavy vehicle using only their physical strength. Grax went first, dragging the massive vehicle across the marked line with visible effort, but ultimate success. When Taylor's turn came, she approached the vehicle differently. Instead of standing directly in front of it, she positioned herself at an angle. She used her body weight and leverage to get the vehicle moving. Then with steady, consistent force, she pulled it across the line. The final test was endurance. Both champions had to hold heavy weights extended from their bodies. The last to drop their weights would win. Grax held the weights. With confidence, his arms like stone. The human Taylor looked strained but determined. Minutes passed. 10, 20, 30. Sweat poured down Taylor's face, but she did not yield. Grax began to show signs of fatigue as well. His arms trembled slightly. The 40-minute mark. Grax suddenly dropped one weight then the other. He fell to his knees, exhausted. The human Taylor held on for 10 more seconds before carefully lowering her weights. Impossible, Grax roared. How could a human outlast me, Taylor? Approached him, breathing heavily but still standing. That was impressive, she said. Your raw strength is greater than mine, but strength isn't just about muscles. It's about technique, efficiency, and determination. Xilla stepped forward. The human champion has won the first challenge. This is unexpected, but the Astrari respect victory, however you earned. She turned to Dr. Washington. Your champion used more than physical strength. She used strategy. Dr. Washington smiled. Intelligence is one of humanity's greatest strengths. We adapt. We find ways to overcome our limitations. Xilla nodded thoughtfully. This made the second challenge more interesting. The test of strategy was next. And if humans were naturally strategic thinkers, it might prove more difficult than she had anticipated. After a short rest period, Xilla introduced the next Astrari champion. This is Thala, our master strategist. She has never lost a strategic challenge. Thala was shorter than Grax, but her eyes showed her intelligence. She had commanded Astrari battle fleets for over 100 years. Her tactical mind was unmatched among their people. The human champion for this test stepped forward. A woman with Asian features and graying hair introduced herself as Colonel Linda. Chen, for 20 years I have taught military strategy at our defense academy, she explained. The strategic challenge took place in a room filled with screens and holographic displays. It was a simulation of space combat each champion would command, a fleet of ships with equal resources. The objective was to defeat the opponent's fleet, or achieve specific strategic goals as the simulation began. Xilla watched with interest. Thala used classic Astrari tactics, deploying her forces in aggressive formation. Her attacks were direct and powerful. She quickly destroyed several human ships. Colonel Chen seemed defensive at first, keeping her forces protected and scattered. This appeared weak to Astrari eyes, but as the battle progressed, it became clear the human had a different approach. She was not trying to match Astrari aggression. Instead, she used the environment, asteroids, nebulae, and gravitational fields to her advantage. Thala grew frustrated as her attacks met empty space. The human ships appeared vulnerable, then vanished into cover. When Astrari ships pursued, they often found themselves in traps. 2 hours into the simulation, Thala's main force pursued what appeared to be a retreating human fleet. As they followed the fleeing ships into an asteroid field, sensors detected too late that the asteroids contained hidden explosives. The resulting chain reaction destroyed half the Astrari fleet. Chen then launched a coordinated attack from multiple directions. What had seemed like scattered defensive positioning was revealed as a carefully planned encirclement. The remaining Astrari ships fought bravely, but the outcome was now inevitable. When the simulation ended, Thala stood in shocked silence. The human strategy had been unlike anything in her experience. You fought well, Colonel Chen said. The Astrari are powerful warriors, but you rely too much on direct confrontation and overwhelming force. Sometimes indirect approaches are more effective. Xilla observed this exchange with growing interest. The humans had won 2 challenges now using unexpected methods. They did not try to match Astrari's strengths. Instead, they found different paths to victory. They compensated for their physical limitations with ingenuity and adaptability. Perhaps the council was right about these humans. They were indeed unusual, and now only one challenge remained, the test of will. This would determine if humans truly had the spirit to be Astrari allies. The final challenge would begin at sunset. Sela used the intervening hours to report back to the Astrari Council. The council members appeared on the ship's communication screen, their expressions grave. 2 defeats is unexpected. One council member said these humans are more capable than our intelligence suggested. Sela agreed. The humans use different approaches than we do. They find ways to overcome physical limitations with intelligence and creativity. They do not fight as we do, but they are effective. The council leader leaned forward. Remember, Commander, the purpose of these tests is not simply to win, but to evaluate potential allies. A species that can surprise us may have much to offer. I understand, Zella said. The final test will reveal if they have the will to be true allies. When Zela returned to the testing grounds, the sun was low in the sky, casting long shadows across the landscape. For the test of will, the Astrari had prepared a special challenge, one that would push the humans beyond physical or mental limits to test their very spirit. The Astrari champion was Vex, a slender female with pale purple skin and white markings. She had the strongest will among all Astrari, having survived trials that would break most beings. Her mind was a fortress, her spirit unbreakable. The human champion was a surprise. A young woman stepped forward, appearing no more than 30 years old by human standards. She had copper-colored hair and green eyes. Her name was Kelly Foster. She was not a soldier or scientist, but a survivor. As Dr. Washington explained, Kelly had lived through a devastating accident that had claimed her family. She had rebuilt her life through sheer determination. The test of will was conducted inside, a special chamber brought from the Astrari ship. Within this chamber, both champions would experience hallucinations, fears, and pain. The test measured not just endurance, but the ability to maintain focus and identity under extreme mental pressure. Both champions were connected to the chamber system. Through neural interfaces, they would experience the same challenges simultaneously. The first to lose mental coherence would fail. Vex entered the chamber with confidence. She had faced this test many times. The human Kelly appeared nervous but resolute. I am ready, she said simply. Zella activated the system. The test had begun. On screens outside the chamber, observers could see simplified representations of what the champions experienced. First came isolation. The feeling of being utterly alone in an endless void. Many beings broke under this test, unable to maintain sense of self without external reference. Both champions endured. Next came pain. Not physical pain, which could be overcome with training, but the memory of emotional suffering. The system pulled from the subject's own memories, amplifying past traumas. Vex remained steady, her mind disciplined against such attacks. But something unexpected happened with the human. The system readings showed Kelly was not fighting the pain. She was accepting it, experiencing it fully, then using it somehow to strengthen her resolve. The third phase brought fear. The system created personalized terrors based on each champion's deepest anxieties. Faced hers with practiced technique, blocking the fear with mental barriers. Kelly took a different approach again. She acknowledged her fears, examined them, then moved through them. Hours passed. The test continued phase after phase. Vex performed as expected, her Astrari training allowing her to resist most attacks. But the human Kelly showed remarkable adaptability. As each new challenge emerged, she found different ways to respond. Sometimes resisting, sometimes accepting, sometimes transforming. The experience 5 hours into the test, the unexpected happened. Vex began to falter. Her readings showed increasing stress. The human was still stable. After 6 hours, Vex requested termination of the test. The human Kelly emerged exhausted but mentally intact. Zela could not believe what she had witnessed. No non-Astrari had ever outlasted an Astrari champion in the will test. "How did you do this?" she asked. Kelly took a moment to collect herself. "I survived tragedy," once she explained. "I learned that fighting against pain and fear only makes them stronger. Sometimes you have to flow with them, accept them as part of life. Then they lose their power over you." Vex approached her former opponent with new respect. "You have a different kind of strength," she admitted. "I fought everything. The system threw at me. That works for a while, but eventually it exhausts you. You found a way to use the challenges to strengthen yourself." Dr. Washington stepped forward. "Commander Zila, your tests have been completed. Our champions have succeeded in all 3 challenges. What happens now?" Zila looked at the humans with new understanding. These were not simply lucky victories. The humans had demonstrated something the Astrari rarely encountered: a fundamentally different approach to challenges. The Astrari valued strength, strategy, and will, but the humans showed these qualities could take many forms. "The Astrari Council will be informed of your success," Zila announced. "According to our traditions, humans have earned the right to alliance with the Astrari. We will share knowledge and technology as promised." Susan Martinez asked, "What kind of alliance do you propose?" Zila considered this carefully. For most species, alliance with the Astrari meant adopting their ways, becoming more like them. But these humans had something unique to offer. "Perhaps this alliance should be different. We propose a true exchange," she said. "You have shown us approaches we had not considered. Your species compensates for physical limitations with remarkable adaptability and creativity. This is valuable to us. We can offer technology and protection. You can offer new perspectives and ideas." Dr. Washington seemed pleased with this approach. "We would welcome such an exchange," she said. "We have much to learn from you, but it seems you may have things to learn from us as well over the next several days." Astrari and human representatives began preliminary discussions for alliance. Zela observed these meetings. With interest, the humans were eager to learn about Astrari technology, especially space travel and energy production. But they asked questions the Astrari had never considered. They suggested modifications and improvements based on different scientific approaches. Krell approached Zila during one such meeting. "Commander, these humans surprise me. They are physically weaker than most species we have encountered, yet they have strength of a different kind." Zila nodded. "They adapt. They find alternate solutions to problems. Their bodies may be fragile, but their minds are remarkably flexible. It is more than that," Krell said. "They show a quality I cannot name. They fall, but they rise again. They face impossible odds, yet find ways to continue. They accept weakness and transform it into strength." Zela considered this. The Astrari valued strength above all else, but perhaps they had defined strength too narrowly. These humans showed that resilience, creativity, and adaptability were forms of strength too. Perhaps, in alliance with humans, the Astrari themselves might evolve beyond their traditional limitations. As the diplomatic discussions continued, Zela requested permission from the Council to remain on Earth as the first Astrari ambassador. She had begun to appreciate these strange humans and wanted to learn more about them. Their music, their art, their sciences all approached from perspectives different from Astrari tradition. The Council approved her request. Traditionally, they would have sent a diplomat, not a warrior commander. But in this case, they agreed that Zela was the right choice. She had witnessed human potential firsthand. She understood their value. Zela wondered what this alliance would mean for both species. The galaxy was vast, and often hostile new challenges awaited beyond the stars. Challenges that might require both Astrari strength and human adaptability. Together they might achieve what neither could alone. 6 months passed since the challenges. Earth and the Astrari had established formal diplomatic relations. Zela had taken residence in a human facility constructed for her near their capital city. She spent her days learning about human culture and sharing Astrari knowledge with selected human scientists. The alliance was proceeding well, but not without complications. Some humans feared the alien presence. Others worried about the impact of advanced technology on their society. The Astrari Council too had members who questioned the value of alliance with such a physically limited species. Zella was meeting with Dr. Washington and Commander Martinez when the emergency signal came from the Astrari fleet. A holographic image appeared, showing First Officer Krell. His expression was grave. "Commander Zila, we have detected multiple ships entering this solar system. They are Draken vessels, at least 20 warships. They will reach Earth orbit in 3 days." Zella felt cold fear. The Draken were ancient enemies of the Astrari, powerful reptilian warriors who conquered and enslaved other species. They had fought the Astrari for centuries. Neither side had gained advantage in their long war, but now the Drakon had found Earth. How did they find this planet? Zila asked. "We believe they detected our transmissions." Krell replied. "We have summoned reinforcements, but the nearest Astrari fleet is 2 weeks away. Earth is defenseless against Drakon technology." Dr. Washington looked alarmed. "Who are these Draken? What do they want?" Zella turned to the humans. "The Draken are conquerors. They enslave other species, forcing them to work in mines and factories. They take resources and leave worlds devastated. Can we negotiate with them?" "Commander?" Martinez asked. Zella shook her head. "The Draken do not negotiate. They conquer or destroy. Those are the only options they recognize. Our planetary defenses," Dr. Washington began, "are useless against their ships." Zela finished. "I must return to my vessel. We will do what we can to defend your world, but we are outnumbered." As Zila prepared to leave Earth for her ship, Commander Martinez stopped her. "Wait, there must be something we can do to help. Some way we can defend ourselves." Zila considered this. The humans had shown remarkable problem-solving abilities, perhaps no. It seemed impossible, but these humans had surprised her before. "There might be a way," she said slowly, "not with weapons, but with strategy. The Draken are powerful but arrogant. They follow strict protocols in conquest. First, they demand surrender. Then they demonstrate power by destroying a small unpopulated area. If surrender is still refused, they attack population centers." Dr. Washington frowned. "So we have 3 days to find a solution or face destruction." "Perhaps less," Zella admitted. "But there is something unique about your planet. Something the Draken would not expect. Humans have demonstrated unusual approaches to problems. If we combined human creativity with Astrari technology, we might find a defense." The next hours were frantic. Human and Astrari experts gathered in an emergency council. Zella shared everything she knew about Drakon ships, their weaknesses, their tactical patterns. The humans listened carefully, asking questions Astrari officers had never thought to ask. A human scientist named Megan Bailey suggested an unusual approach. The Drakon ships use quantum communication systems to coordinate attacks. What if we could disrupt those systems, Astrari? Engineers shook their heads. "That is impossible. The quantum entanglement cannot be broken, but it can be confused," Bailey argued. She explained a theoretical approach using Earth's magnetic field as an amplifier for a targeted disruption wave. It would not destroy the communications but could introduce errors and delays. Excella was skeptical, but allowed the humans to pursue this idea. Meanwhile, other teams worked on different approaches. Some suggested using Earth's atmosphere as a defense. Others proposed decoy targets to confuse Drakon. Targeting systems. 2 days passed in constant work. The Drakon fleet drew closer. Astrari scouts reported their approach. The Drakon commander had sent a message demanding Earth's immediate surrender, and the withdrawal of all Astrari forces. The human leaders refused to surrender. Instead, they implemented their plans. Earth military forces were positioned according to strategies developed by the Joint Council. Civilians were evacuated from likely target areas. The experimental quantum disruption system was deployed using modified Astrari technology combined with human satellite networks. When the Draken fleet entered Earth orbit, Zella watched from the bridge of her ship. She had only 3 vessels against 20 Drakon warships. The odds seemed impossible. The Drakon commander appeared on the communication screen, a massive reptilian figure with scales of dark green and black. "Commander Zella," he hissed. "You and your Astrari friends have interfered. With our conquest, surrender now or be destroyed along with this primitive world. Zila stood tall. We reject your demands. Earth is under Astrari protection. The Draken commander laughed. Then watch as we demonstrate our power to these humans. Draken. Destroyer moved toward Earth, its weapons charging. It targeted an uninhabited island as expected, following their conquest protocol. The destroyer fired a massive energy beam toward the planet. What happened next shocked everyone. The beam passed through empty space. The island appeared untouched. The Drakon commander roared in anger. What trickery is this? Fire again. The destroyer fired again with the same result. Zila looked at her tactical display in confusion. Then understanding dawned. The humans had deployed atmospheric refraction fields using Astrari technology. The Draken targeting systems were being fooled by false optical data. Enraged, the Draken commander ordered a full attack. All ships target the humans. Major cities, the Drakon fleet, moved into attack formation. But something was wrong. Their movements were uncoordinated. Some ships collided, others fired weapons at incorrect targets. The quantum disruption was working. Their communication system was failing. Now Zila ordered attack, pattern Sigma. Her 3 ships engaged the confused Draken fleet. They could not win through firepower, but they could exploit the chaos. The human defense forces launched their own attack, using modified missiles guided by targeting data from Astrari ships. The battle raged for hours. The Drakon maintained superior firepower but could not coordinate effectively. Their attacks missed targets or struck their own ships. The human quantum disruption continued to sow confusion throughout their fleet A's. The battle continued. Astrari reinforcements arrived earlier than expected. A small scout fleet had been patrolling nearby and responded to Zila's distress call. The additional ships turned the tide of battle. When the Draken flagship was damaged, the commander ordered retreat. The remaining Draken vessels fled the system, leaving behind 7 destroyed ships. The Earth had survived. Its cities were largely intact, though some damage had occurred in the fighting. In the aftermath, Zila met with Earth leaders. The humans celebrated their victory, but Zila warned them this was only one Drakon fleet. The Drakon Empire will not forget this defeat. They will return with greater forces. Then we must be ready, Commander Martinez said. The combined human Astrari defense worked because we approached the problem differently. You provided the technology, we provided new applications. Dr. Washington nodded. We need to continue this partnership, strengthen it. Earth cannot face the Draken alone, but neither could your ships have defeated them without our help. Zila agreed. The Astrari Council will see the value of this alliance now. You humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. Today proved the truth of those words. Your creativity combined with our technology created a defense no one thought possible. In the following weeks, Earth and the Astrari strengthened their alliance. The Astrari Council committed more resources to Earth's defense. Human scientists worked with Astrari engineers to develop new technologies combining different scientific approaches. Zila found herself increasingly impressed by humanity. Their response to near destruction was not fear, but innovation. They studied Draken technology from captured ship fragments, learning, adapting, improving. She began to understand why the Astrari Council had been interested in this species. The humans did not simply copy Astrari technology, they transformed it, found new applications, asked questions no Astrari would consider. What had begun as a test of human worthiness had become a true exchange of ideas. The Astrari were learning as much from humans as humans learned from them. Perhaps most surprising to Zila was the human response to the Draken. Many species faced with such a threat would seek only to hide or surrender. Humans instead spoke of eventually making peace, even with the Drakon. They did not see endless war as inevitable. This perspective was alien to Astrari thinking, but Zila found herself considering its wisdom. The galaxy had become more dangerous for Earth, but also full of new possibilities. The humans had taken their first steps into a larger universe, and they had done so not as conquerors or victims, but as innovators and allies. They had much to learn but also much to teach. 1 year after the Dracon attack, Earth had changed dramatically. Astrari technology had accelerated human development. Several joint bases had been established in the solar system. Human scientists worked alongside Astrari engineers developing new defenses and technologies. Exila had been promoted to High Commander of the Sol System Defense Fleet, a joint human Astrari force. Her experiences on Earth had changed her, giving her new perspectives on strength and strategy. She had become a bridge between the two species, advocating for deeper cooperation. She stood now in the new orbital command center, watching Earth rotate below. The planet looked peaceful. From space, its blue oceans and white clouds hiding the frantic activity of a civilization, preparing for possible war. Dr. Washington, now serving as Earth ambassador to the Astrari, joined her. The orbital station was impressive. "High Commander," she said, "this would have taken us decades to build on our own." Zila nodded. "This is what alliance means. Each contributes what they do best. You provided the design innovations, we provided construction technology. Together, we created something neither could achieve." Alone, Ambassador Washington gestured toward a display showing ships under construction. "In Earth orbit, your council has committed significant resources to our defense." Zila considered the question. The Astrari had indeed invested heavily in Earth, a young world with limited technology by galactic standards. The traditional explanation would focus on strategic value, resources, or position. But the truth was, more complex. Earth represents something unique. She explained, "Your species approaches problems differently than any we have encountered. The way humans adapt and innovate is valuable, possibly essential for the challenges ahead." "What challenges?" Ambassador Washington asked. Zela activated a holographic display of the galaxy. "The Dracon Empire controls this region." She pointed to a large section of one spiral arm. "For centuries, they have expanded through conquest. The Astrari have contained them, but at great cost. Both empires have reached stalemate using conventional approaches, and you think humans offer unconventional approaches." "Exactly," Zela said. "Your defense against the Dracon demonstrated this. The quantum disruption system should not have worked. Yet human scientists found a solution no Astrari would have considered. This is why the Council values this alliance." Ambassador Washington looked thoughtful. "This is more than military alliance, isn't it? We are changing each other. Already I see Astrari officers adopting human approaches, human scientists incorporating Astrari philosophy." Zela had noticed this too. Cultural exchange had begun to influence both species. Young Astrari officers were less rigid in their thinking, more willing to consider alternative strategies. Humans were adopting aspects of Astrari discipline and focus. Before their conversation could continue, an alert sounded, a communication. "Officer, approach, Commander. We have detected an unusual vessel entering the system. It's not Dracon or Astrari. We have never seen this configuration before." "Show me," Zela ordered. The main screen displayed a massive ship unlike any in Astrari records. It was organic in appearance with flowing lines and iridescent surfaces. It moved differently than conventional ships, seeming to flow through space, rather than propel itself. "All defense systems alert." Zela commanded, "But do not take hostile action. This may be first contact with an unknown species." The mysterious ship approached Earth, maintaining distance that suggested caution rather than aggression. It made no aggressive moves. Then a transmission came through. A figure appeared on screen unlike anything Zela had seen before. It seemed to be composed of light and flowing energy, loosely shaped in humanoid form but constantly shifting. "We are the Luminar." The being spoke, its voice musical and strange. "We have observed your world for some time. We come now because of recent events." Zela identified herself as commander of the defense fleet. "What events interest you?" she asked. "The battle with the Dracon, the alliance between humans and Astrari." The being replied, "We have watched many worlds, many species. Many fall to the Dracon, many ally with the Astrari. But this is different. This alliance changes both sides." Ambassador Washington stepped forward. I am the human representative, she said. We are still new to interstellar relations. What is your interest in our world? The luminar being seemed to shimmer with energy. We are observers mostly. We rarely interact with physical species, but what happens here may affect the balance of the galaxy. The Draken spread destruction. The Astrari contain, but do not change. But your alliance introduces something new. Adaptation, evolution, transformation. Zella was confused. These beings seemed to possess advanced technology, yet showed no interest in conquest, or even conventional diplomacy. What do you want from us? She asked directly. Not want offer. The Luminar replied, We have observed the Draken for millennia. They cannot be defeated through conventional means. Their conquest continues unless something fundamental changes. We believe this human Astrari alliance represents such change. We offer knowledge. Ambassador Washington looked at Zila, then back to the screen. What knowledge? Understanding of the Drakon, their origins, their true nature. The luminar being expanded, becoming a swirl of light, patterns. The Draken were not always conquerors. They were changed by ancient technology, a device they found and misused. It altered their genetic structure, made them aggressive, territorial expansionist. This was not their natural state. This was unexpected. Information. Zila had never heard of such a device. The Astrari had fought Drakon for so long, they simply accepted them as natural enemies. You mean the Drakon can be changed back? She asked. Not exactly, the Luminar replied. Too much time has passed. Their current state is fixed, but the device still exists, still influences them, still drives their conquest. It can be neutralized, Ambassador. Washington leaned forward. Where is this device? How can it be neutralized? At the heart of Drakon space. In their sacred temple. They believe it is a gift from their gods. It emits a specific energy pattern that reinforces their aggressive tendencies. Neutralize it, and the Drakon would still be formidable but no longer driven to endless conquest. They might become open to true diplomacy. Zella was skeptical. Why tell us this? Why not neutralize it yourself? The Luminar flickered. We exist primarily in different dimensional states. Physical manipulation is difficult for us, and the Drakon would detect our energy signatures immediately. You, however, combining Astrari stealth technology with human adaptability might succeed, where others would fail. After the Luminar departed, Zella called an emergency council meeting. Human and Astrari leaders gathered to discuss this new information. Some were skeptical, viewing it as a possible trap. Others saw an opportunity to end the Drakon threat without massive warfare. We need more information, Commander Martinez argued. We can't launch a mission into the heart of Draken territory based only on the word of a species we've just met, Zilla agreed. But the Luminar knowledge of Draken history was detailed. Their technology is clearly advanced. They could have attacked if that was their intention. The council debated for days. Eventually, they reached a compromise. A small joint mission would be sent to gather intelligence. Volunteers only. The goal would be to confirm the existence of this device, not to neutralize it immediately. Zilla surprised everyone by volunteering to lead the mission. The Astrari Council objected, arguing that a high commander was too valuable to risk, but Zela insisted. This mission would require someone who understood both human and Astrari approaches. She had become that bridge. 5 humans joined her mission, each selected for special skills. Major Olivia Taylor, the strength champion from the original challenges. Megan Bailey, the scientist who developed the quantum disruption system. Kelly Foster, whose will had impressed even the Astrari, and 2 other specialists in stealth operations and xenobiology. They departed in a modified scout ship using advanced stealth technology. The journey to Drakon space would take 3 months. Even with the best stealth systems, the mission was extremely dangerous. If discovered, they would have no support deep in enemy territory. During the journey, Zella trained with the humans, sharing Astrari combat techniques. In return, they taught her their approaches to problem solving. The humans constantly surprised, her finding unconventional solutions to training scenarios. As they neared Draken space, tension grew. They passed silently through border patrols, their ship systems powered down to minimal levels to avoid detection. The final approach to the Draken, homeworld, required navigating through heavily guarded space. Against all odds, they reached the planet undetected. Using information from the Luminar, they located the temple, a massive structure at the heart of the Dracon capital. Now came the most dangerous part. Zella and Kelly Foster would infiltrate the temple, while the others maintained the ship. The two had developed an unusual connection during training, each complementing the other's skills. While Zella provided strength and combat ability, Kelly brought adaptability and creative thinking. The temple was heavily guarded, but not against infiltrators from within. The Draken never imagined anyone could reach their homeworld undetected. Using Astrari stealth technology and human ingenuity, they entered the sacred space. At the center, they found it exactly as the Luminar described, a device ancient beyond imagining, pulsing with strange energy. It looked like a crystal sphere containing swirling darkness, yet somehow it felt wrong, as if its very existence violated natural laws. Megan Bailey had prepared a neutralization system based on Luminar specifications, as Zila placed it near the device alarms.